Hello. Alright, we are just watching a show right now, trying to figure out what the message is going to be next. Need to get a better backdrop. Something just to go. I do my readings in the basement at my house, and it leaves this thing in the back, and there's a way to fix it, and I haven't figured it out yet. So, no, they use the cloth, and then we use the electric one or the CGI one, whatever you want to call it. That one works, but I haven't put it up yet, so I'm going to work on that. But all the stuff in the back is just distracting to me. It's supposed to be helpful for whoever is watching, but it's distracting to me. I got an Emperor in reverse. Then I got a Queen of Swords upright. So which Emperor? I hope it's not the big one, because if it's the big one, Aries, I see why the Queen of Swords has to come out. We're a little icy. I'm a Queen of Swords, and I can be very icy when you put my Emperor in reverse. No. So I don't know whose Emperor is in reverse, but it's pretty icy. Because now we have a Seven of Wands also in reverse. So if you thought you were an option, you're no longer an option. That's a problem for Aries, because Aries knows how to fight war, right? So we got to figure it out one step at a time. The intensity is a little high right now, but while we're trying to figure it out, we're not allowed to use magic. So we ask Spirit to guide the conversation, and Jesus will guide us through it as we figure out who our Emperor is. Because Spirit helps us to become a Page of Cups, right? A Page of Cups now in reverse, right? So the question is still there. Are you a Page of Cups, or are we dealing with Ace of Cups? And we don't know the answer, so we just continue to wait. Because we started with an Aries in reverse, right? We started with an Emperor in reverse. And what happened? If it goes all the way to Jesus, then that means Jesus is in reverse. And I don't believe in that myself. So who next can go in reverse? Because we have Greek mythology for a reason. Greek mythology brings us to our Empress. All right, the Emperor is in reverse, and now the Empress is upright. So I'm always representing my Empress as someone sitting in heaven, like Gaia, or you know what I mean, like someone big that's underneath Jesus. You know what I mean? You could say Saint Mary or something like that, but it's the Empress energy. Now, that energy comes to humanity, so certain women hold this energy. And if your Emperor is in reverse, then we need the Empresses to step up. We called them the Amazonians for a short period in time. And they were pretty freaking cool, but they went through earthly problems. I have a Five of Swords that's in reverse. So, geez, I don't know. Let's look deeper into the picture real quick. All right. I'm looking at a picture of when we go to Mars. When we go to Mars and we're building a city on Mars, and you're talking to the squirrels, right? Whoever's on Mars, whatever's on Mars, you got to figure it out when you get there. That's all in reverse, right? So, what's that telling me? Right now, that's telling me all those dreams about going to Mars, all those dreams about walking on the moon, all those dreams about dreams about dreams about dreams. They're kind of going down, right? And right now in the background, I'm watching a show that's about people in poverty. So if you know how poverty works, then man, the whole world is in reverse. People keep continuing to request messages that are not sugar coated. And I believe in it. I totally believe in it. But as a Christian, it can be challenging because if I'm not sugar coated, then Jesus knows it's not very safe for me. Because, yes, we end with a King of Swords, right? And if you knew who my human father was, you'd understand that I'm just not really good at just letting my tongue ride with the Queen of Swords because it gets me in trouble. And I work in healthcare, so I have to stay safe all the time. And if I just hang out with the wrong people sometimes, it comes out. So I have to stay the clean cut conservative white guy, or else we get in trouble. and then your ace of coins really doesn't know what's going on. Because the ace of pentacles for me represents my human father who's in heaven that worked so hard and so long to make sure that I don't end up in prison. So he's in heaven right now. So we can't let him go in reverse, right? There's just no way for that to happen and me end up in heaven standing next to him because I know who Jesus is. Of course, things can happen, but one day I'm going to have to meet my human father and tell my human father why I had to go to prison for stealing a car or, kidnapping someone's kitten or, something ridiculous that people like me have to go to prison for because I don't break the law very often. I might speed or I might not pay my insurance on time or something like that, but I don't break the law very often. But I do have things that I have to deal with before I get to heaven. So we deal with it one step at a time. So we got the chariot in reverse, right? Chariot in reverse. So I'm talking to my dad, right? But it's going to be quite a while before I can look him in the eyes, see the skin that was once skin, remember that he's still my dad. We call this place heaven, where we'll actually know that it's them you're communicating with and not like sending a letter to Jesus. Jesus, can you tell my dad? And then if Jesus sends you a letter back, then maybe you might get a response. Because on earth, we don't really have a promise that that happens. We just trust certain people and their experience. And then other people, we don't trust their experience because, it gets scary sometimes. If something starts floating across a room, or if someone starts screaming really loud and their head starts spinning in circles, I've never seen any of this. But you know what I mean. It gets scary sometimes, so if people wish for it, we have to address it. So we're just, people that pray a lot is the best way that I can explain who we are. We're I'm a Christian mystic. Other people call themselves nothing. They don't want the label for that exact reason. Like I'm a Catholic priest or I'm a Spanish monk. I don't know. I'm me, right? I'm me. So we continue swimming and we continue swimming until the end of time, hopefully, because our page of cups is in reverse. So if it's not a page of cups, I'm hoping for the ace because Jesus and God hold the ace, right? So I'm hoping for that, but I don't know. Right now I have a 7 of swords, which is good. As a gay man, I have a rainbow sticking out at me. And if you remember what the rainbow stood for, it was supposed to be the first sign that we have on paper that God was trying to show Noah that he would not kill the whole planet again like that, not with water. He wouldn't do it like that again. So he reminded him, hey, I'm still God. Here's a rainbow. You may have never seen it before. Maybe. We weren't there, right? We weren't there. But I suppose maybe he never saw a rainbow before, and then he saw it, and he got reminded. See, now the question is, and the conversation can turn into, is any of that true? Because now you're going to have to suspect that there was never a rainbow before the one flood. All right, so it's a challenge for people like you and me if you're this same person. So I just try to hold on to what I can hold on to, and then I give the rest to Jesus because I don't know how a flood works and I don't know how a rainbow works, but I know what symbols are and I love what signs are. So I have a sign of a 4 of coins right here, a 4 of coins in reverse. Now, the biggest sign that comes out to me is that it looks like a cell phone or an ATM, and now you need to pay some rent, right? All right, so it's no big deal. It's not like the end of the world. We're not talking about you're going to live under a bridge somewhere, but we might talk about having to sell a Nintendo game or buy a PlayStation system or whatever video games you guys are playing right now. I don't play video games because you see what my game is, right? I got different kinds of games. I don't have that much time in the day to play video games and cell phone games and work games and learn the address games, all the things that you have to memorize and then hold on to tarot. That's what tarot kind of represents for a lot of us is I choose not to memorize every single one of your games, but I would love to talk to you. I would love to communicate with you, and I would love to figure out how you like to figure it out because that's a puzzle. It's just a big puzzle, and then we talk about it. So we got here the temperance in reverse. So if you look at temperance like patience, you're waiting and you're trusting the angels and you're trusting spirit and you're trusting Jesus and you're saying, Take a breath, figure it out. The bills will be paid, the child will get school, the child will get health care, all of the things, right? If you got all that going on, remember the only ace we have right now is the Ace of Swords, which is God the Father holding a sword, right? Right. All right. So we have an Ace of Swords and we know who's in charge. So if you believe in God the Mother, then you got to readjust. And we're not talking about gender here. We're talking about pictures on cartoon characters. So you got to figure it out for yourself. But Ace of Swords for me is Big Papa. All right. So King of Coins is where we end up. And he is also the King of Coins. And guess what he looks like? He still looks like the King of Coins, who looks like the devil Lucifer. Oh my goodness. Look closer. Look closer. This is what we have as a picture of a King of Coins. Now, a king is a person on earth, right? All right, so even if you win the lottery tomorrow, you're going to have to face that hellfire. So don't worry about it. Even if you win $10 million, Jesus is still going to be looking at you like a high risk individual, right? You have so much power on earth now that you're going to be a problem because the Bible says something about going through an eye of a needle and a rich man not being very good at that, something like that, right? So, don't wish for the lottery every day, but if it happens to you, God bless. And if it happens to me, stars have fallen faster. So, just kidding. I don't know. It might happen one day. It might happen for all of us. So I'll be praying for all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Good luck. Bye.